Let's talk about something that is brand new to me, a company I'd never heard of before, and some pretty cool stuff. This is the Chapman Lake Knives Model 1 Tonto. I know, that just rolls right off the tongue, right? The actual model number is the CLK-1T, which is the Chapman Lake Knives. Anyway, nobody cares. So this company is all American made. From the box, which is super cool. They probably don't make the hinges. Okay, and these 8 screws, I'm going to guess. But they do make the box. However, on the knife, they do make the hardware themselves. They don't forge out they don't create the blade steel or the titanium, okay? So when I say it's all made in-house, they buy some raw material, okay? But they do make the screws. They do make the blade, the hardware. The screws are the hardware. You know what I mean? All right here in the United States, in Bloomington, Indiana. Pretty cool story. There are other companies out there that are American made, but yet they don't make their own screws because it's too much work. Like, I'm not even going to name names, but they talked about that in some of their videos and in discussions with them. So they buy bulk screws from somewhere else, and they buy bearings from somewhere else that may not be in the United States, but yet they're an all-American made company. Chapman Lakes does it differently. They make it all themselves. So the box is pretty cool. It's a magnetic closure here. Got a little piece of acrylic plastic glued in, and they make the cutout for the knife. One thing I noticed when I did the unboxing is the cutout for the knife is super precise, almost to the point of being too precise, because you have to kind of, if you're going to put this away and store it, you got to kind of just puzzle piece it right in. Maybe slightly bigger just so it's a little bit easier to drop it back in. But I don't know. It's cool. I appreciate the packaging, and I'm going to put that out of the way because the light is glaring right off of the glass on the box. I appreciate packaging. I never really did up until an ex-girlfriend many, many moons ago. Her job was a packaging designer. And I was like, what the hell is that? And then she explained the whole thing to me. She literally, here's a good example. She would design this whole box and the whole package. And did it open from both sides or one side? Or did it hinge this way? Or did it hinge that way? And so because I got the whole story, I have a better appreciation for packaging now and what it comes in. All right, so onto this knife. This is from Beard of Doom. They say it is a reversible pocket clip, and I'm not sure. I didn't take it apart, but I guess it could. I'm not sure how it stays in place and doesn't rotate off axis here, but I'm going to take their word for it. It does say reversible pocket clip on their website. I'm going to put a link to their website down below. This is a titanium button lock with the oil slick finish is what Beard of Doom ordered. And you can see in the right light the kind of milling lines here, but you can't feel them. It's crazy. And that's on all of these kind of milled out surfaces. You can see the lines. This one really shows it very well, but you can't feel those. I don't know. It's cool. It's a cool trick and how they do that. 20 CV is your blade steel. Now this company is a subsidiary of, there you go, Tonto Blade, as mentioned in the name. So this is a subsidiary of Chapman Lake Instruments. Chapman Lake Instruments makes orthopedic implants, surgical tools, and surgical blades. So if they're going to make that type of a thing in the medical industry, they're going to be pretty precise what they make for us EDC guys, right? So two brothers started Chapman Lake Knives. I don't know if the Chapman Lake Instruments was mom and dad, or, don't know the whole story. Maybe we'll try to get them on the EDC hour. This comes in at about $400. The oil slick might be a little bit more, but their standard coloring and whatnot, and you can pick your colors, is about $400. These are built to order. So you go to their website, you pick and choose all of your options, and you order it, and in 3 to 4 weeks, they ship it to you, which is cool. It is a button lock. The detent is kind of light because it's a button lock. They are working on version 2 that is going to increase the detent, if you will, strength, so that it is a more, fires out with more authority. And then there was some other minor changes. It's listed on their website. I didn't need to go into all the details. I don't like to just read you a website. If you could just go there and get it, I try to give you most of the information. And if you want more, you can get it from the site. All right, 5 1/8 closed, 4 1/2 overall, just a hair over. The blade, 3.49 the way I measure it, right? Because I measure from the top of the scale to the tip. This one angles down and you get a lot more blade here, relatively a lot more. So your cutting edge is really 3.56. Now that's another thing that is changing in the next version is, if we zoom in here, the the sharpening choil is being pushed up some to aid in sharpening because it is way back here. That might be tough. I'm not a sharpener, so I'm not going to comment too much on that particular piece. So behind the edge, you're going to be at 0.028, blade thickness of 0.119, 20 CV as we mentioned. Blade thickness, overall thickness, is 0.492, weighs in at 4.8 ounces, and it runs on steel bearings. It's a cool knife. I don't love it because it's a button lock and the detent strength is a little mushy, for lack of better words. Also, when I first look at it, the blade height is very small. It almost, to me, looks a little disproportionate to the scales. I don't know. It's weird because now that I'm looking at it right now, it doesn't give me that look, but it kind of, I don't know. Something about it is a little off for my brain. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to really show and explain that difference much, but there's a couple of just other knives that are, handmade customs also. And I don't get that proportional difference with these two. Okay, this is a VC Edge interface. This is the North Arm Skaha. Completely US made, completely Canadian made, completely US made. Okay. So what I like about Chapman Lakes is on their website, they're pretty pro-America on there, which is cool. American engineering, American materials, all American made. Like they're very, very pro-America on there, which is cool. And that just goes to, I don't care where it's made. A lot of people give me crap because I have knives that are made overseas. Okay. I have other knives that are made overseas. I show everything. I talk about everything and I don't care where it's made as long as it is made with quality materials, craftsmanship, and all of that good stuff. Right. So this is a cool knife. I haven't seen very many videos on YouTube. I've seen Bearded Dooms because, well, he owns this. There was another one. I think Chapman has a YouTube channel with like one video on it. Let me give you a couple of other size comparisons really quick before we say au revoir, as it is. Just the Sharpie and the Delica. and the Kubi KB237. And just for fun, how about the D-cell and AA batteries? Okay, your D-cell battery weighs in at 5 ounces, and this Model 1 Tonto comes in at 4.8 ounces, just to give you some weight comparisons. Because it's a button lock, it's super drop shut. It's a timing thing. Oftentimes with this one, the flipper tab gets in the way. My finger gets in the way of the flipper tab, and then it kind of stops and doesn't close. So again, that's just a thing that you have to get used to, your own knife and your own button lock. You know, again, I don't really like button locks for the reasons I mentioned previously, but this is a cool one. And Beard of Doom, thank you so much for loaning this to me, because I didn't even know it existed. Just because I have a YouTube channel, just because I do daily content, just because I've been doing daily content for over 3 years, doesn't mean I know everything about every knife that's out there, or even know that every knife exists. I'm stumped and shown new things all the time. So what I like to do is share them with you as well, because I'm going to guess a lot of you didn't know about this one either. So if you've made it this far, comment down below, yes or no. Yes, you've heard of these. No, you never heard of it before. Thanks a lot, guys.